All right, let's talk about Solana. It's a name that's been making a ton of noise in the crypto world. It's powerful, it's controversial, and it's got people on all sides of the fence. Today, we're going to unpack what all the fuss is about. We'll look at the incredible promise, the very real peril, and the unique tech that makes Solana one of the biggest, highest-stakes bets in the entire space. So, start with this question. What if you could just rebuild the internet's engine from scratch, but this time, design it for one thing and one thing only: pure, unadulterated speed? For years, blockchains have been stuck in this dilemma, right? You could get security, or you could get speed. But getting both at the same time? Almost impossible. Well, Solana was built to shatter that compromise.
So what is it exactly? In simple terms, Solana is a direct challenger to Ethereum, but it's obsessed with speed. And its secret weapon is something called proof of history. Now, don't let the name scare you. Think of it like a super-fast cryptographic clock that puts a timestamp on every single transaction before it gets processed. This lets everyone agree on the order of events without a long, drawn-out negotiation. It's this innovation, working alongside the more familiar proof of stake, that gives Solana its incredible velocity.
Okay, Section 1, a need for speed. Why this relentless focus on going fast? I mean, what's the big deal? Well, this gets into the fundamental problem that Solana was created to solve: the dream of a blockchain that can actually operate at the speed of real life.
This really paints the picture, doesn't it? On one side, you've got Ethereum. It's the standard, it's proven, it's secure, but man, it can be slow and expensive. It's the tortoise. And then you have Solana, the challenger, the rocket ship. It was built from the ground up to be blazing fast with fees so low you barely notice them. And that's the core trade-off we're looking at today.
So that brings us to Section 2, the promise of Solana. If they're making this huge trade-off for speed, what's the payoff? What do you actually get when you build a blockchain that can move this fast?
Well, it starts with this number: tens of thousands of transactions per second. Now, to put that into perspective, a network like Bitcoin, it handles maybe 7. So this isn't just a small step up, it's a completely different league. It's designed so that applications can run at a massive, global scale without ever hitting a traffic jam.
And here's the second part of that killer combo: the cost. A transaction on Solana costs less than a penny. So when you put that insane speed together with almost zero cost, you suddenly unlock all these things that were just a fantasy on older blockchains, like micropayments, or super fast trading, or just affordable, everyday digital interactions.
And you can guess what happened next. That mix of speed and low cost acted like a giant magnet for developers. A huge ecosystem has just exploded on Solana, covering everything from DeFi and NFTs to the next generation of Web3 games, and even bringing real-world assets onto the blockchain.
And the crazy part is, they're not even done. The engine at the heart of Solana is getting upgraded all the time. There are massive new projects in the pipeline, like one called Firedancer, that are aiming to make the network even faster and, this is the important part, more stable. This thing is very much a work in progress.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, every promise has a price. Now we have to turn the coin over and look at the peril. What are the serious risks and the downsides that come with this single-minded focus on speed?
And this is Solana's Achilles heel. It's the big one. The network has gone down, completely offline multiple times. And every single time that happens, it shakes people's confidence. Because look, you can have the fastest car in the world, but if it doesn't start in the morning, that speed means absolutely nothing.
Then you've got the centralization problem. Let me just break this down. Because Solana processes a mind-boggling amount of data, the computers that secure the network, the validators, have to be incredibly powerful and incredibly expensive. That high price tag means fewer people can actually afford to participate. And when that happens, you risk having control of the entire network fall into just a few hands, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of decentralization.
And of course, we have to talk about the financial risk, which is, well, it's extreme. Just like a lot of crypto, Solana's price is unbelievably volatile. It has seen absolutely gut-wrenching drops from its peak in the past. For anyone thinking about investing, that kind of wild swing is a huge factor you just can't ignore.
So, with all this speed and all this activity, what are people really doing on Solana? Well, while there's definitely some amazing innovation going on, let's be honest. A massive slice of the pie is driven by pure speculation on things like meme coins. And having so much of your ecosystem built on hype rather than real-world use, well, that just adds another layer of risk to everything.
All right, so we've seen the good, we've seen the bad, and we've seen the ugly. Let's try to put it all together and land on some kind of final verdict. How should we think about Solana when we weigh all of this? Ultimately, it really boils down to this simple but powerful equation. Solana is not a safe bet. It's what you'd call an asymmetric bet. The potential for it to be something massive is absolutely there, but it comes with an equally real risk that it could fail spectacularly.
And when you lay it all out side by side, that duality becomes crystal clear. The strengths are just undeniable, right? It's unbelievably fast, the fees are a joke, and the ecosystem is booming. But those strengths are perfectly balanced by some very serious risks. That shaky history of network outages, the centralization concerns, and an ecosystem that runs hot on speculation.
This really leads to two completely different futures for Solana. In the absolute best-case scenario, it figures out its stability problems and becomes a core foundational piece of Web3, the next version of the internet. The worst case, it just can't overcome its demons, gets lapped by its competitors, and ends up as a high-risk playground for speculators.
And that leaves us with the big question. Is Solana the blueprint for how we build our digital future? Or is it a cautionary tale about a project that was so focused on speed that it maybe flew a little too close to the sun? Right now, the jury is still out.